Welcome everybody to Oceanside Library's Poetry Near and Afar, featuring our guest today, one from the near, which is New Jersey, which for Long Island is often afar, but for this purposes of uh, this program, we're going to call near New Jersey as near, and Bonnie, who is joining us from Switzerland, which is still not the furthest that we've had somebody, but you're darn close, Bonnie. So, without any further ado, Bonnie Joy.
Thank you so much. I'm actually a Jersey girl originally and lived in New York. I'm gonna start with some questions because I think it's important for writers to be asking questions, especially now. This is no place for falling in love with a question mark. What's the difference between a glass bag and a bag of glass? A gyroscope spinning on a string or a kitchen grater hanging on a wire? A coterie of cascading emoticons or a playbook of deadpan organization? The skeleton key to my attention enslavement or the luxury trash in the mail? Am I a health grifter or a predatory optimist? I've been sucking in my stomach since I was 11, and I've eaten all the lipstick off my lips. Can you tell I'm from Jersey because of my tooth enamel or my intellectual shoulder pads? Am I traveling with Pavlov or his cat? Am I a celery water drinker? And is the water vodka? Am I a hyper vigilante or a concealed consortium? Cue the ghost buildings. I want there to be no clench in the reality of who I am. Cue the permission slip to my shadow side. Cue the entropy of my busted voice. Is the sound okay? Okay.
The sound is perfect, absolutely
Okay,
perfect.
good. All right, great. Thank you. Anti-algorithm. I was tired of being used by the users, tired of trauma dumping, trending carefully while providing for a flight of family ghosts. Tired of micromanaging my healthcare app when it refused to reimburse me. Overwintering the uncertainty, refracting my pearls, ruminating and mindlessly lurking. Tired of wellness spams and video tutorials on how to get just pinched cheeks or red velvet toenails. Tired of being couch locked by the clipboard holders, waiting for my dabbles and dibs. The hottest moment was when I discovered that every day doesn't have to be a minefield, that I shouldn't let anyone upset me so much I have to light sage. My mood isn't a product to sell on the socials. Bitches can still be basic and wear all the colors. Once I did nothing and became friends with myself. So feel free to do emojis or something. When ChatGPT first came out, I decided to try and write a poem with ChatGPT, but it turns out that that chatbots are not very good poets. So I'm going to do my part, and I'm going to try and do the ChatGPT voice. So the title is me asking the question to ChatGPT. ChatGPT, can the melting of the polar ice caps change my mood? While it may not directly change your mood, the conflict over resources can make you feel lost. Can poetry make the polar ice caps reappear? While poetry alone may not bring back the polar ice caps, it invites interconnectedness. How does one make a metaphor for polar ice caps? The polar ice caps, guardians of the Earth's cool embrace, like fragile dreams melting under the relentless gaze of the sun. The polar ice caps, reduced to fading echoes of a frozen symphony, melting away like whispers of forgotten melodies. The polar ice caps have bad breath because the ancient moss inside them is melting. Some readers may prefer more serious metaphors. Is this better? The polar ice caps are liquefying clowns toppling on the Earth's melting stripper pole. It is important to note that the mixture of humor, surrealism, and unconventional comparisons may not resonate with everyone. But aren't the examples you gave old-fashioned? They don't push poetry to its full potential on melting polar ice caps. Here's an example of a metaphor that aims to push poetry to its full potential in depicting the melting polar ice caps. The polar ice caps, once mighty fortresses of frozen might, dissolving into liquid whispers as the climate symphony plays its melodic refrains. Polar ice caps, who took off their caps? It is important to note that the melting of the polar ice caps is primarily a result of environmental factors rather than a conscious action on the part of the ice caps themselves. The internet. We should all know less about each other. Even though we're in no immediate danger, it always feels like we're about to realize the palm of eternity needs deep pockets. If the hum of the espresso machine is the sound of Western civilization, does social media sound like a hypodermic slot machine? Is it possible to downshift our thinking and not focus on what the internet wants us to know? Why do humans need to gauge how they're doing and what they look like doing it? Most people should not demonstrate how to apply makeup or give dating advice. Talking about something while you're doing it doesn't transcend time. It stops it cold. We can blame feelings we don't understand on unplanned astral travel instead of walking through multiple doorways. What if an amazing adventure began with the words, "I was tired, so I stayed in bed," and then we didn't broadcast it to all our followers? What if we just told stories about our daily minutiae to the laconic crackling of eternity? These, maybe you've noticed some of these kind of have a theme. So spiritual consumerism. There's a wireless lace bra and panty set infused with mantras that ships for free if I don't think about the pink elephant. Everything is equally difficult now, even with more distance, to put into words. Remember, I'm not here to produce anything. My ongoing wonder is broken until I feel the exaltation of nothingness rising with the sidewalk steam that I use as a cleansing ritual. I can't assume anyone but the ad bot can read my mind. I'm sitting on a half-acre of experiences ready to tap in, think out, and turn off, only to get the pointless journey special. Is it weird that I also want matcha bubblegum? I used to exfoliate my brain in Macy's using an amber vanilla aura loofah, but now I just do it with an internal kale Brillo pad. Like they say, it's all in the healing practitioner. How come I still don't understand the tarot of voguing? Where the fuck is my Palo Santo room spray? Still on this same theme, spiritual bypass with a triple S. During the gong bath, the what is incidental to the how it makes you feel. Everything will be okay, you'll see, if you just empty the frilly drawers of your mind and put new stuff in. your body has a memory too. And you picked it in your last life when your spirit was down in the village trying to tell the future as hundreds of glowing discs spun across the night sky right at you. The internet is still a game that never ends, but now the earth is a computer and its memes give good advice. So post one regular spectacle to the cloud every day and you'll witness that all will be right in the world. These are the pajama times. Sit back and cuddle yourself and get ready to be love bombed as you redo your internal labyrinth. Creepy side note, outside, there is nothing. So actually, outside there is something. And what there is abominable snowmen, otherwise known as Yetis, and they are not happy. Reasons why Yetis are so angry. They're basically narcissists who stay away from mirrored surfaces and each other. When they see another one enjoying a sunbathing session, they go berserk and attack. When they hear a whistling swoosh sound, they know there's one of their kind around, ready to charge. Each one thinks they're less abominable than the others. That's why hikers usually see a lone Yeti. They want to be told they're so big and so hairy and scary. They need all the attention focused on them when they go on a tirade about how itchy and hungry they are and how surprised you look so skinny since they just saw you at the campsite barbecue chowing down a farmer's prize yak. But you don't really believe in them, and you certainly can't hear them. It was just brown Yeti-shaped dirt on the blurry photo you snapped. It was your big-ass footprint in the snow. I know I'm like of the Nuyorican Poets Cafe crowd where people read their poems really fast in 5 minutes. So I feel like I'm reading really fast. So I actually I have like
You're doing great. You're
okay.
actually doing wonderful.
All right, thanks. Thank you for the reassurement. You're right, it is hard to speak into the void. So I'm gonna read a checklist. So there's the only rules to the checklist is that you can write whatever you want, but it stops at 33 and the 33 has to be 33 degrees. Checklist number 17. 1, there's a difference between where are you from and why are you here? 2, maybe I'll get back into the gloss for winter. 3, theaters are usually easy to find. 4, why do all big cities have gum graveyards? 5, don't start distorting things unless you know what you're doing. 6, it's all in the operator. 7, the diagnosis changes the design. 8, vacation in your own creativity. 9, getting lost in cities that are strange to me. 10, it works when we move in a fashion that makes sense to us. 11, the beret cliche. 12, is the devil in the defaults? 13, lists make people less stressed. 14, when you finally think of me, I won't be where you left me. 15, archival silence. 16, excuse me, my wine is broken. 17, am I just an element in your fugue state? 18, the backdrop is projected. 19, how do you remove your social context? 20, I'm here to represent the doll ship. 21, it's always there, but sometimes we forget it. 22, we're fucked, we really are. 23, it's the questions that are important. 24. Is there any identity better than no identity? 25. Repeating words over eons of time. 26. The medicinal power of ants. 27. When we stay in our lanes, we learn from each other. 28. Colorful junk. 29. Gurus we've been critical of. 30. I don't know what he was trying to say, but we laminated it. 31. We're just normal people trying to fit into a world dominated by millionaires. 32. And the secret door for the after party, 33 degrees. And then I just have one more for you tonight. I'm really looking to listening to the next poets. And thank you so much for having me. I just want to let you know that psychos are so passé. If the good kind of brainwashing happens while we sleep, why do I wake up a more extreme version of myself? Am I just addicted to the sensory order of procrastination? Why do I scroll the internet, researching ways to realign reality with my trainers? Do I buy silver spine cuffs, purple mascara, and cashmere anything so I don't have to ignite the power of my masters in New York nightlife? Skeptical and starved for alpine values and avid for connection, I'm overwhelmed and drifting into a winter so cold I'm mean mugging my way through the gray days. I try to create some razzle dazzle by burning scented candles to enhance the ambience until I get the lighting right. Make blood orange cakes and fennel salads until I manifest the dinner party I want to be invited to. Take my daily cold plunge until I stop my heal the world routine. Exercise excessively until I learn how to be still again, until it's all just banana peel. Thank you.
Wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much. What a
Thank
great,
you.
great reading. Thank you. You can unmute yourselves, everybody. Give her a nice round. Still the quietest bunch of poets I've ever seen. Great job. Thank you so much, Bonnie.
Woo! It was
Yeah.
really wonderful. I love
Yeah.
the titles and I absolutely love the narration, Boni.
Thank you. Thanks.
Now you gotta-
Awesome and amazing.
There you go. All right. Okay, so now calling up for our near poet, ladies and gentlemen, Megha Sood.
Thanks so much, Tony, for giving me the space and making me part of this. It's always a pleasure to be part of the Oceanside Library. And before I start reading, I just want to give a brief synopsis of my book, Language of the Wound is Love, which is slated for publication on March 10th, and it's currently open for pre-order by Flower Song Press. And I just want to give you the name behind the title, Language of the Wound is Love. So the name came up to me because I think that all the wounds which are inflicted on the humanity, be it gender or social-based discrimination, violence against women, human rights violations, displacement due to war, migration, everything which is inflicted on humanity, it needs healing through love. All we desire as a human is love and acceptance. So my book is divided into 5 sections, and each section focus on one specific kind of issue. So before taking any further time, I'm going to start my reading. The first poem is titled Poem and Its Hunger, and it's the opening poem in my book. Poem and Its Hunger. Do you ever realize how the body reclaims itself? Like the dried scar from its time of birth. You only realize its presence when you see it. Hunger reeks from your soul, and like water from a mother's hair wrung after a bath, it brings out scented memories of something pure and sublime. We all enter a poem, knowing its hunger, and emerge stripped naked of our emotions. There is always a death standing at the end of the sentence. Not every enjambment gives meaning. Some lines are meant to be left orphaned, like the day they found an old crumpled picture of my bombed city in my wallet. We all enter a poem knowing its hunger, like a night, feverishly trying to find its salvation in the open mouth of the bloody dawn. The next is called The Beautiful Death Around Us, and it's based on the invasive species, the lanternfly, emerging in the summer of 22 in the eastern part of the United States. I've been taught by my granny to always help an animal in need. Even an insect, a monarch with broken wings, fluttering in the shining mud, shining bravely in the precipice of the city, stopping us in our tracks. I hold it gently in the center of my tender palms like an infant, cuddling its existence with all my warmth and tending to its broken wings till it can fly. One day, a small-breasted warbler crashed against the blinding windows of my high rise and fell on the balcony. Death is a shining thing. It draws you in like a Pied Piper, a shining penny half covered in a roll of hay. I tend to its broken wings and wait feverishly for it to open its eyes. Numerous tales of kindness and humility come back to me, rushing when sometime kindness becomes a stranger to me. These days are strange. The year is strange. Death and dying have been given a new name. The normal has been anointed again. And yet again, there is an invasive species, as beautiful as a dream in the thicket of the night, with its spotted wings and the fiery abdomen, a spotted lanternfly. And the message that it brings for us is, when you see it, kill it. What a terrible act of survival. It is either them or us. The existence is beautiful and yet so devastating. Sometimes I feel how much kindness is left inside this withering soul of mine that can kill a living being with all its might. The next one is called They Have Plans for Us. And as a literary activist, I write a lot about the social issues. And this is based on the complete abortion ban, which is mentioned in the Project 2025 manifesto. They have plans for us. Oh, yes, they have plans for us. Oh, yes, the one that they have hammered down to the last line, the manifesto, word after word, line after line, pages after pages, mapping the curves of our bodies, silhouettes of our desires, dipped in their thick black inks of subjugation. Yes, they have plans for us. Boxing all the mortal things bejeweled with life plans, trinkets and bling, underlining their adoration for us, their unfettered love, passion, their soft, caring being. Yes, they have plans for us, stripping bare our tongues with hands tied at our backs, wombs scraped clean, as pristine and demure as they want us to be, with their stories of success etched in our spines for kingdoms to come. Yes, they have plans for us to carry the love of incest and rape in our womb, licking our wounds clean but never saying a word, bringing shunned love to our full breast, letting it down a bit, warmly and gently nursing it every day, recounting the days like a horror story on reels. Yes, they have plans for us, till our thick blood trickles down murky lanes of dark, empty parking lot for their sheer pleasure, a sluice of broken dreams and desires carrying our strangled future. Yes, they have plans for us, for guarding every inch, every iota of our existence, having a lien to our soul. A perfect story of a mother with rounded bellies, making it complete, making it whole. Yes, they have plans for us to get on our knees, to say our prayer for exalted gods in heaven, to utter words of salvation and redemption till the kingdom come. Yes, they have plans for us, to carry the blood stories in our sacred womb and not to utter a single word, to hold the bitter truth on the edge of our teeth while licking razor blades without spilling a word. Yes, they have plans for us, freeing us from all this self destruction our simple minds can't conceive, taking us to yet another hell that they have brilliantly mapped out for us. Thank you. The next is called A Bridge Needs to Be Built. Not every thought stirs me up. Not every flicker brightens my heart. It takes 1,000 steps in my heart to take one little step towards you. Not every morning brightens my soul. Not every rain washes my sins. I have knelt on so many pews seeking absolution. Not every prayer absolves my sins. Not every scar sings songs of my glory. Not every wrinkle is chiseled with experience. I'm a fleck of mortality riding the wings of time. Not every moment of history carves me. Not every sin I commit defines me. Not every blank space in my heart can be filled. Not every thought of mine can be aligned. But every day in me, I find myself a bridge that needs to be built, a dark corner that needs to be lit. The next is called My Identity as a First Generation Immigrant. Empathy stems from the mouth of love, of hunger, of acceptance, an incessant desire to be known as a countryman in a town full of wonders, a land of opportunity as told by my toothy-grinned ancestors. I hear your wails in the thicket of night, heat rising through my spine, leaving my walnut skin pocked with welts and blisters, another day of spineless crime. Little difference does language make if the heart is emptied of compassion. Protection takes a different meaning when the protectors starts to devour. I curl my words as your name slips and falls off my tongue, like a sin in this country, built on borrowed hopes and desires, crouched and shriveled, shrinking my existence a little bit more every time. Treading narrow streets filled with slurs, resting on forked tongues and bent spines, carrying silver-etched dreams of my ancestors, with throats laced with parables of truth. Soft hands with sweet bay leaf fragrance, holding a sepia-tinged tattered book, carrying the love for generations. My identity, carved as a first-generation immigrant in a land built on the callous hands that are painted with silvery dreams of kingdoms to come. The next one is called Deciphering the Madness, and this poem was commissioned and aired on WNYC Studio during the pandemic when we all were living on our versions of reality and what all we need was connectedness. Deciphering the Madness. I asked the night as it rests on the caligenous back of time, like a thick rope going through the wide open mouth of a blind wall, rubbing against it, leaving marks on its existence, like a divine mark on the forehead after kneeling before the exalted gods for countless times. I ask myself, is it ever going to be all right again? Thinking, as I take a second glance at the empty streets of my house, longing for the clickety-clack of the footsteps warming its thick cobbled skin. There is a method to this madness that I used to discover. Every morning, looking outside my window, counting hurried whispers of crowds as they move towards the station like a mass exodus. Now I long for those sights that I normally abhorred, the state of the normalcy of what it was before, as the light sheepishly makes its way through thin wooden slats of my bedroom window. Is it ever going to be all right again? The pinging sound of the garbage truck backing up in an alley, soft paws scratching as they dig dirt in the almost bald spot of the park, joggers cladded in sweaty bodies heaving to take in another sliver of breath. Is it ever going to be all right again? I look at the puny finches weaving a nest in the oak outside my apartment as they decipher this reigning madness, carefree weaving home for their future self. I say to myself, it is indeed going to be all right again. Thank you. The next is called a condolence call, and this is based on a real experience of me trying to call a friend who lost his mother during pandemic and he couldn't go to India to perform their last rites. A condolence call. Grief sits like a day-old soup in my kitchen unless anger stirs, rattles, and boils it. Grief rises to the surface as and chokes me. I hear the loss of a mother, my friend's mother, over the phone. It's a condolence call, yet I can't seem to join in his grief. Sudden loss disjoints your body. The pieces don't seem to fit anymore. Body and language are extricable. Our tongue moves in a way our body can't decipher in grief. I can't seem to form a legible sentence. Our conversation keeps coming back to the grocery, the loneliness of being stuck in a condo, looking over the lush green deserted parks. I don't want to bring back the conversation of the dead and dying. The whole thread is about feeding the ones we love. Loss is pouring through the thin sluices of the city every damn day. That starts again the same way it ended yesterday. Or was it tomorrow? With sidewalks pitted with the bones of the dead, there is a new definition of normal. I can't seem to fathom the desperation and anger in his voice of not being able to visit his mother during her last times. The pain and the grief carry over like a failing enjambment from one meaningless conversation to another till we ran out of small talk. The silence between the pause takes the shape of an unsaid condolence as I slowly hang up the phone. There is no defined language for grief. Lesson learned. The next is called Trails of Kindness, and it was part of a public exhibit in Jersey City, and it was published in the Pen Women magazine by National League of American Pen Women. Trails of Kindness. I count the years as I walk past the trees lining my courtyard, counting them one by one neatly on my soft, supple fingers. The mighty oak has weathered worse and still nests sparrows. The jasmine tree, whose flower-laden shoots smiles through their fragrant arms, wave me goodbyes. Their warm presence deeply carried by the northern winds. Even with the slight opening in my kitchen window, they can make their presence felt. What more is to this life than to count joys and blessings in the crawling lines of my mint plant that is growing and spilling joys in all directions? The new tender leaves of basil twinkling and shining through the sliver of the sunlight. Warm, supple hands of my succulents holding water as kindness in their thick leaves remind me of the frail hands of my granny combing my hair and making trails of kindness, reminding me always that kindness is a necessary gesture of acceptance, like the puny sapling breaking through the crumbling earth. as it finds hope and goes through pain. I'm going to close my reading. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to close my reading with the poem Brotherhood, which ties the whole underlying emotion of this book. And it starts with an epigraph by Martin Luther King Jr. We must live together as brothers or perish together as fools. Brotherhood. We are all broken, crumbled, rounded again, made from the same clay, caked and baked in the same unforgiving oven. We all have cracks in us from where the light gets in, frayed at the border, pulling apart at the seams, peeling off and breaking down into pieces in all our miseries. We are all the same, living under the same ashen cloudless sky and blue moon in its reverie, breathing the same air, swooning over the same melody of the souls, crooning our necks to the same broken chords in unison we roll. We all are the same, laughing and cracking up with welled up eyes and bruises we endure, getting stabbed by the same knife, bloodied by the same bullet. Caste, creed, or religion doesn't seem to discriminate or beg to differ. We are all the same heartbeat, sliced and splintered into million pieces, and the same God we worship, holding books with different verses. We all are the same from within, laughing at our scars with abject profundity. We are brothers and sisters, and together we shall live. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Wonderful. Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. Very powerful. Thank you very much. All right. Nice round of applause there. Okay.
Nice.
Very nice. Two great reads tonight. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to move right into our open mic. Again, everybody gets one non-epic length. If you do not want to read, please put that in the chat. We're going to start off with Emily Sue, and Edna, you're on deck.
Ooh, okay. Wonderful readings. Thank you, Boni and Megha. And hi, everybody. I'm going to read one that was published recently in the Long Island Quarterly. Oh, and I'm from Huntington Station on Long Island.
Thank you.
All hell has broken loose. No more fussy and frugal. Infinitives have broken free. Prepositions are leaping off ledges. Apostrophes have mostly walked off the job. Adverbs
I don't
sadly.
know if I'm on or not. I'm having a problem with the
Bruce,
Zoom all night.
Bruce, you're on and we can hear you. I'm going to mute you. I'm sorry, Emily, just start again, please.
Okay. All hell has broken loose. No more fussy and frugal. Infinitives have broken free. Prepositions are leaping off ledges. Apostrophes have mostly walked off the job. Adverbs sadly forever shunned hide in shadows. What a time we are living in. Words tossed like salad, spoken in the finest Orwellian doublespeak, simulate erudition. The lies soaking up the spotlight cast no shadows. Bullets fly in staccato formation, leave us crying more tears than rivers could ever hold. Rivers overflow their banks, break through dams, uproot trees, smash through facades. Rushing waters topple the edifices of our imagination. All notion of safety fades into a painting of a past left out to dry in blistering sunlight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, Edna, you're up, and Bruce, you're on deck.
And I'm reading from Boise, Idaho, and my poem is Music, My Captor. I am a classic case of a captive audience imprisoned for life. Shostakovich, Symphony No. 9, lifts me to the highest cloud, but I'm pulled back down to the depth of the underworld by Gluck, the desperate call of Orfeo. Che farò senza Eurydice? Where are you, Eurydice? Vivaldi's aria from Faranzi, Gelido in ogni vena, chills my blood along with Tamiri, a mother ordered by her husband to kill her son. Unexplainably, the deeper the sorrow, the lovelier the sound. Luckily, there is Beethoven's sole concerto for the violin to wipe off my tears, and Mendelssohn's Midsummer Night's Dream to make my heart sing. Early music is still my favorite. Sometimes, however, I go for Philip Glass and delight in listening outside the box.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. All right. Excuse me. All right. Sorry about that. Bruce, you're up, and Margaret, you're on deck. Bruce? Bruce? All right. Seem to have lost Bruce. All right. So, Margaret, you're up, and Chris, you're on deck.
Thank you, Tony, and thank you to our feature readers. I'm from Massapequa, Long Island. This is an ode to my landline phone. Another chapter in my life closed today. This day I cut you off, returned the cable box and modem. Too expensive to keep you both. Channels kept disappearing out of nowhere. 999 channels with nothing to watch. But there was you, years of connection, many last calls we shared, to Mom, Sandy, to Sue. You were the red light blinking messages when I got home to greet me. Too often you became college tuitions, car warranties, prescriptions, ones I never had. When did you become this liar, this annoyance, this curse called spam? I miss our days of grandparent phone calls and baby and wedding announcements, snow days off from work and school. Today, my calls announce themselves inside and vibrate inside my pant pockets. All the news just a few clicks away. Your 10 digits forever remembered like dates on a tombstone. Your casket is your original box I place you inside. Put you in my closet next to the CD player, cassettes, and old cameras. I mourn for you, dear landline, like the rotaries of yesterday, when childhood crank calls made us laugh. You, only a dial tone away, ringing I ran for, now a cordless silence. As I glance toward my desk, that empty, dusty spot where you once stood, remember you and cry.
Great piece, Margaret. Thank you. All right. Sorry, Chris, you're up, and Mark, you're on deck.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, we can all hear you.
Okay. I'm from Baldwin, New York. Dandelion and grapefruit meshes in the sky over a town full of administrative buildings. Taped up radios on marble floors from the lobby. No batteries inside or in sight. Sheetrock walls are leaned on by dark cream file cabinets, leaving a dent so everlasting. Bottles of whiteouts are spilled on fine prints from transcripts, contracts, bills, referendums, etc. Not a representative in sight. A little boy picked up the latest issue of The Eye at the parking lot full of Corollas. He walks away reading an article with a headline that says, The campaign tour to Mars begins. Home.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chris. Great job. Mark, you're up, and Marvin, you're on deck.
Facing mortality and asking it, do you live around here or something? Because I don't think I've seen you around before. A nearby tree shook in its roots and bent a branch like an elbow to cover its knothole. Hey, if I'm standing in your way to somewhere, I'll just mosey on over to the curb and let you pass. Mortality said nothing and barely blinked. Perhaps stoned out of its gourd, maybe just unfamiliar with the territory and too macho or ashamed to ask for directions. I'm not getting much of a vibe at all from this mortality stranger. Just a cold stare and empty expression on the blurry contours of its face. Frankly, this spooks me a little. And as a wise friend once said, never bring trouble to where you rest your head. I wasn't simply going to walk away and have this shadowy character decide to follow some distance behind me to find out where I live. Oh, you're probably looking for the XYZ apartments. The entrance is at the other end of the block. Turn right, past the mailboxes, then hang a left. You'll see them. Slower than a work clock at 4:50 p.m., this mortality guy turns and begins to step along. Not a word, neither of gratitude nor gratuitous vulgarity, not a single turn of neck to look back at me, but something tinkling on the back of my neck suggests that guy's got eyes on the back of his head. The tree drops an acorn which pops on pavement like a fortune cookie snapped in half. Bent over to pick it up, and I suspect I'll see that shady mortality guy character come back around someday.
Thank you. All right. Great job. Okay, Marvin, you're up, and Bruce, you're on deck.
To Boni, I want to say that before you were born, I was in Lucerne in 1968 and 1972, and I remember the covered bridge. I'm from Port Jefferson, Long Island. The poem is Hamlet. You are dead, Hamlet, as you stagger on the stage, wounded by the dagger of deceit. You are dead to the questions of death, and life is no more than a few drops of blood in the alleys of your being. Hamlet, you are dead, having never ascended the throne of your potential, having never donned the mantle of respect that such as you deserve. Your crown is the silence that embraces the quintessence of dust. Princely peace. At last, Hamlet, you are dead.
Thank you, Marvin. I love this whole series. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, Bruce, you're up, and Ronald, you're on deck.
Can you hear me now, Tony?
Sure can.
Great. I may have read this before, I apologize, but I thought it was a good day to read it anyway. You are the hero of the Bill of Rights. If you, one of we the people, are the hero of the Bill of Rights, then the government that imprisons and taxes and burns down and starts wars and discriminates against you and so many others must be the villain. What kind of a villain is this government anyway? Bearing the name of the antagonist of every people at every time and in every place, yet under the same name, attempting somewhat imperfectly, mostly reluctantly, to govern with the consent of the governed, that agrees that you are worthy of the Bill of Rights. How wealthy do you have to be? How many arms do you need to bear in order to tame such a wolf in sheep's clothing? How long before this government of we the people delivers its revolutionary promise of a day, the first of endless days when you don't need wealth, You don't need arms. You don't have to come from this. You don't have to look like that. You don't have to pray on a particular day to reap the benefits of its Bill of Rights. And when the sun is risen on that first day, will we know that our ship of state has arrived in safe harbor, that we should disembark and sit under our vine and fig tree, that the Bill of Rights can help grow bountiful? Or are we doomed by nature to dominate, to grab more than our fair share, to devour and to destroy all we create? Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. All right, Ronald, you're up, and Robert, you're on deck.
Okay, this one is about to be published in Patterson Literary Review number 50. And over the years, I've had 10 poems published in PLR. So this is called At the 14th Street Subway Station. At the 14th Street Subway Station, I reached for my Metro card, but in my left pocket, found only some bare trees, and in my right, only a grand piano, which you proceeded to play, while patrons gathered to cheer and flip coins and coffins into your green beret. We collected those ill-gotten gains and paid both our fares, with one leftover coffin to spare. So on the train, I opened the coffin to find a dancing bear, which danced its way to complete satisfaction and love in the rain. We looked at each other and wondered what we'd been doing wrong all these years. So you changed your name to Felonious and mine to Big Breck, and we danced our way to the downtown convention of weekends and todays, where we enjoyed a buffet of thunderclouds, daydreams, and answers. And you decided that we had everything that we needed forever, except for some unstable frequencies and too much pride. Thank you and have a pleasant evening.
Thank you, Ronald. Thank you very much. Robert, you're up. Doreen, you're on deck.
Thank you, Tony, and hope you're feeling better soon. Native New Yorker, now coming from Palo Alto, California. This is a found poem excerpted from 1 week's synopsis of movies on TCM's website. Femme Fatale Film Festival. Party gal ruins her life when she falls for a married man. In small town, sexual repression drives teen girl mad. Mother suspects her perfect little girl is a sociopathic killer. Psychiatry and love for married man transform repressed spinster. Southern Belle's willfulness threatens all who care for her. Fading Southern beauty visits sister who's married to a brute. World War II widowed bride seduces high school student. Two married strangers meet in train station and fall in love. Thanks for listening.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Doreen, you're up, and JR, you're on deck.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Boni. Thank you, Megha. What a wonderful evening as always. This is called Breaking News. I don't know how to break the news to you without breaking your heart. Perhaps it's too late to protect that organ. It beats for a reason. Maintaining life is still a valid goal for some. Although I have moments, especially lately, when it seems a useless aim, but the children, mine and yours, so innocent, deserve a chance to taste the freedom from fear and insanity we were blessed with once, upon a glorious time. Or so it seemed, as I grew up in these United States of America. History, if we still have one, will someday break the news. Keep reading. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Doreen. All right. And JR.
Hi. Thank you, Boni. Thank you, Megha. Thank you, Tony and Oceanside Library for keeping us in poetry. I am in East Meadow, Long Island, and I have a travel. Tales from the wood chipper. Doing my job. Chewing, masticating, shredding, twigs, limbs, branches, piles of old love letters the spouse should never see. I make bark out of anything, unlike the neighbor's dog who barks at everything. No body parts, please. Too hard to clean my teeth without another visit to the dentist. His files are killers. Not to brag, but I shred and chip branches 3 inches in diameter, proud of my 300cc 4-cylinder Viper gas engine, my low shredder hopper, and especially my dock and lock bagging system. Can't miss me. I'm red, but not from blood and guts. I don't do wet work. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. All right, I'll finish up with this one and then we'll say goodnight. It being President's Day, TR and me. We were born a century apart, within miles of each other. We each raised families on this very same island. My wife and I breakfast on his porch, early summer mornings, hot coffee and a book. It's placid now, almost church-like, not raucous as when he wrestled the boys and charged up the stairs like a banistered San Juan Hill. By the time he was my age, he'd been assemblyman and police commissioner, cowboy and war hero, prolific author and renowned reformer, widower, governor and vice president, winner of the Nobel Peace Prize, builder of the Panama Canal, president. He came to Sagamore Hill to rule and recharge. I come to be inspired. He left to join Mount Rushmore. I leave feeling challenged and more than a bit inadequate. All right, well, thank you very much, everybody. Boni, thank you so much. Megha, thank you so much. It was a wonderful reading, a great open mic. Want to thank you all very, very much. And we'll see you next time. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tony.
Good
Thank
night,
you.
everyone.
Thank you, Tony.
Good night.
Hey,
Feel better, Tony.